and like you're just over there busy trying to see if there's going to be some romance. You're trying to see if a lion is going to start trying to cuddle with another female lion. Then you see another male lion going up to that male lion, and you're like, oh shit. Okay, they're not challenging each other, but it seems pretty friendly. Wait, what the hell is that?
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
Welcome to the Breakdown Podcast, where I talk about love, sex, and relationships from a guy's perspective, as well as a bunch of other guy shit. The man on the mic is a man who believes that jumping to conclusions should be a form of cardio. He is also a man that believes that astrology should have been the study of ass. It is none other than your tall, dark, and mildly handsome man, Sir Denver B. I have come through, and I believe to some degree that Delulu is the Salulu. Now, this is in relation to the things that I intend on discussing today, of which it is going to revolve around the wonderful world of dating and some of the things that I believe should at least go back to being practiced. But sometimes it feels like we're a little too far gone. Like, we might have probably crossed the line a little too far that we just can't go back. But you know what? I'm a bit of an idealist and a bit of an optimist, so I still tell people that we should do it. What I'm exactly referring to is something that I do intend on explaining when I get to the tweets, considering that this is a Friday episode, so it means that I do get to take a nice deep dive into the wonderful world of X, look at a couple of tweets and break them down a little bit. Now, as usual, this means that you can contribute the many various tweets that you would like me to break down and discuss, whether they be on X or Twitter, or whether they be on IG or even Facebook, and I will explain how in a little bit, because it's a very simple drill, almost sounds like a song, and it goes like this. You see that tweet, you like that tweet, you want us to discuss that tweet, you send that tweet. You send it to the DMs of @BagakaTheD, which happens to be my personal X handle, and I will take it from there and handle it accordingly. On Facebook or on IG, if it happens to be a screenshot, a screen grab, or ended up on a reel and it was a tweet, then the place that you can send it to is @The Breaktime Podcast on Facebook or @The Breaktime_podcast on IG. The DMs are always open, and I will take it from there and I will handle it accordingly. Now, I do have a couple of tweets that I need to go ahead and break down real quick, although interestingly enough, like, they're mostly videos, and that wasn't entirely by design. It's just that there's a couple other tweets that I need to get into, and they involve unpopular opinions about dating, which I want to do as like a continuous series from like next Friday. So I first want to clear with the past tweets from then, of which it's mostly videos, then I can get into those ones and I can do my breakdowns for that. And while I should be going straight into those tweets, before I can do any of that, first of all, I still have my APVA nomination, and the deadline is on the 10th of August. So if you're listening before the 10th of August, then I would really appreciate your votes. And you can do the voting via the link in the description of this episode. It's really right there. It's listed 2024 APVA voting, and I do look forward to your votes. All right. But now, with that said, I want to set the scene in the wonderful world of Delulu land, where those of us who believe in certain ideals or ideal situations in dating, where stuff can be so much better for people, kind of like how some people believed it was back in the day, can actually live that sort of life. Now, that is the kind of land that a bunch of these tweets are coming from, and they speak on ideals that we should probably go back to. But before I can get into any of that, I first want to talk about a very recent study which revealed that hippos can fly, albeit briefly. Now, of course, when you hear such a thing, hippos can fly. Hippos, very, very heavy animals, flying something that requires a little bit of, lightness, it seems like it's a little bit far-fetched. And honestly, I thought the same thing as well, which is why I made sure that I wasn't going to read this entire article post without at least bringing it to the podcast first, because this sounds like a bunch of bull. Now, the post says, and I quote, "A study from the University of London's Royal Veterinary College has found that hippos can momentarily lift all 4 feet off the ground when moving at full speed on land. The common hippopotamus, Hippopotamus amphibius, native to sub-Saharan Africa, is one of the largest land mammals, with adult males averaging 1,500 kilograms or 3,300 pounds and females averaging 1,300 kilograms or 2,866 pounds. Despite their size, hippos can reach speeds of up to 30 kilometers per hour or 18.6 miles per hour. Researchers have debated whether hippos use a standard quadrupedal walk or a trotting gait with diagonal feet moving in synchrony. Previous studies did not confirm if hippos become airborne while moving quickly, a trait common in many mammals but rare among larger mammals. To investigate, a team led by Professor John Hutchinson and veterinary student Emily Pringle filmed hippos at Flamingo Land Resort and analyzed online videos. They gathered and analyzed 169 strides from 32 hippos, including 2 zoo hippos moving quickly around their paddock. Hutchinson's research focuses on understanding how large animals stand and move and how locomotion evolved in different land vertebrates. End quote. Okay, let me just get this straight. So you're telling me out of this article that of the research that they did and all the strides that they actually looked at, their idea of flying is when the hippo is moving and all 4 legs are above the ground in a floating motion, albeit briefly. I don't know. It seems a little bit of a stretch here, calling it flight. Like, usually human beings can do that for like a quarter second, half second, sometimes even a full second or more, depending on the kind of flight and how athletic the person is. And usually we just refer to that as jumping. And I think with every other mammal, except flight mammals that can actually fly with like wings and shit, it is classified as jumping. So why the hell is it being said that hippos can fly? Honestly, I feel like this is a bit of a stretch. In terms of things that can be researched, I feel like there's much more interesting things that you can research, like, more convenient methods of birth control that are friendlier on male and or female bodies. Like, I feel like that one would be a little bit more profound as research. But hippos running, like their legs lifting off the ground, like I feel like even human beings, whenever we're running, like for like 0.2 seconds or 0.1 second between every step, we're literally in the air with both our legs above the ground. So to think that this is supposedly supposed to be such a big thing, like I feel like this is just overhyped. And I know the whole like birth control thing seems like it's not even a wildlife research thing, and I get that, but like you think about wildlife researchers, and if this is something that they think is revolutionary knowledge and shit, I feel like they're making a little bit of a stretch here, because you're thinking about it. These guys went and analyzed 196 strides. 100, like they even had the nerve to count them, and they were looking at 32 hippos just running. Like, I tend to think that there's more interesting things that they can look for in animals as part of studying and doing research that would probably be more beneficial. It's like the people that discovered that apparently there's other animals that can be gay besides just human beings. Like, those ones at least gave some validation to the whole idea that, not being straight isn't like a human error or a human condition alone. It's something that occurs with other animals. And like that at least carried some sort of revolutionary knowledge of some sort. You can at least say that this isn't just a human thing, this is something that affects other animals. Although when you kind of think about it practically, they were probably voyeurs at some point during that entire study, because imagine going with like your cameras and like observing a bunch of animals, and like you're just over there busy trying to see if there's going to be some romance. You're trying to see if a lion is going to start trying to cuddle with another female lion. Then you see another male lion going up to that male lion, and you're like, oh shit, okay, they're not challenging each other, but it seems pretty friendly. Wait, what the hell is that? Like, is that a dry hump or some shit? And then now you have to ask your assistant, because you're the PhD holder, you're like, go have a look. And make sure that it's nothing too big so that I don't get eaten. And then the assistant goes and starts trying to check, and has to probably confirm that they're actually doing the do. So the guy has to get up close with like his camera so that he makes sure that there's like 2 sets of balls that are jingling each other, and dude has to come back with that information. Now you have to go and present it to people. Jingle bells, Lion King is gay. Like, doing all of that, like that is definitely like serious work and like research. It's pretty wild, seems like voyeurism, but it does actually classify as research. But looking at a bunch of strides, that just seems like it's just regular shit. Like, I can do that and go and watch the female species walk so that I can try and determine the speed at which normal women walk. but I'll mostly be doing that because I'm trying to look at booty. But either way, I find the idea that someone researching on hippos flying is just about as delulu as the idea that hippos can fly. But then again, that's just me, and some people are probably greenlit with funding for this shit, so I am going to leave it at that and move it on to our very first tweet of this episode, which speaks on the idea of men disappearing in a relationship, where a man said, "This is why men disappear in a relationship." And he attached a video. So I am going to play the video, then I can give my thoughts on it. So without further ado,
sometimes men disappear because they feel like their effort is not being reciprocated.
Talk about it.
So hear me out. A lot of women feel like their approach to dating is, you as a man have to prove to me you are worthy of my time, my energy, and me being more vulnerable to you. And because of what you've been through, you think that's the right way to do it. But unfortunately, when you're dealing with a man who's actually serious and he's seeing you're holding back, you got walls up, he has concerns that you're wasting his time. So now he falls off because he's like, all right, she's tripping, she's not really making any effort. But because there's still a desire there, because he still likes her, I think the comment, the like, is a temperature check. Let me see how she'll respond. Let me see if I can still reignite something here. But it all stemmed from, are we actually making a mutual effort to get to know each other?
Okay.
So just make sure, before you start throwing all kinds of accusations at the man, ask yourself, was I coming correct in this process?
okay, so this explanation was actually very, very good, and I actually easily agree with it, mostly because I have gone through that sort of situation where it's like, you're putting in effort, and it's like there's nothing that you're getting back. And it's something that you see happen a lot these days, where people actually do bring up this whole idea of go and date the people that actually like you. And the idea behind the whole date the people that actually like you is this belief system that if someone likes you, one, they'll make the job easier for you, like the whole idea of dating and everything, and two, reciprocation is actually going to be something that you will see because the other person likes you and they also want to treat you as well. Now, you see that happen quite a bit, and there are times when it does happen, but there's also times when it doesn't happen. And what you notice in quite a number of instances is you find that there's women that are so in love with the idea of this person that really wants to date them and is super interested in them that they kind of enjoy and revel in that feeling and the fact they're in this sort of commitment or in this possible commitment that's happening, that they forget that the other person that's treating them also deserves to be treated, also deserves to be appreciated, also deserves a certain amount of reciprocation. So it's not like, I buy you flowers and then you look at the exact amount I paid and you buy me something of the same amount. No, it's the whole idea of giving positive feedback, positive affirmation, and trying to give some sense of reassurance to the other person that is treating you so that they can know that you appreciate them and you appreciate what it is that they're doing for you. And this is best portrayed in terms of actions. Now, one of the things that a lot of women usually run to is just shagging the dude. Just the same way I have heard women busy talking about, I'm gonna ride him extra special, or I'm gonna wear that lingerie he likes because it's his birthday or some shit. Nah, like, I feel like people need to stop trying to use sex as a gift. Like, people need to avoid that shit. Go for something that he'd probably like. So for example, if there's a certain sort of food that he likes to eat, can you make it for him? Can you take him someplace where they can get it? If it's probably a certain drink or a certain cologne, can you get it for him? Like, there's so many different ways that you can show your appreciation for the guy. A very simple example is when it comes to, say for example, dates and meeting up, and say for example, like something happens last minute and you're not able to meet up. So instead of you just turning down and saying, yo, look, we'll need to do a rain check on this, something came up, don't just stop it at that. Like, say, look, sorry, I don't think I can be able to make it for this and this. Sorry, I'm not able to do ABCD. How about we do it on this and this particular day, or like a week from now? That at least shows that you want to actually get to do what it is that you guys are going to do. And in as much as you're not able to make it, you're willing to at least reschedule, or even in some other instances, sort of replace that entire thing. So for example, if you guys had a reservation, say for like a movie or even like a theater show, and the babe isn't able to make it, probably something came up, probably she's super busy at work and she's like, sorry, I can't make it. How about we do something different on this and this day, because I know that this film or this play won't be showing on this day. So alternatively, can we do A, B, C, D as just the two of us? You know, you can even go the extra mile and be like, don't worry, it'll be my treat, because I know you planned and put effort into us actually spending time together, but I wasn't able to make it. So it at least shows that you not only appreciate the fact that they did want to spend time with you, but also that you want to spend time with them. And that show of reciprocation, that show of appreciation is something that actually makes us feel a lot better as guys, because when you're going and you're proposing a bunch of shit and you're being told, nope, sorry, I can't make it, nope, sorry, I can't make it, you actually get to a point where you don't know if this babe isn't interested in you, or if you're just being stood up, or if you're suggesting the wrong things. So it's like you're in this point where you don't know if the babe that you're hitting on, the babe that you're dating, is actually interested in you, or if you're just being strung along. And the one thing that most people today do not want is just to be led on or just to be strung along so that someone can enjoy themselves while you're busy trying to put in effort, yet you're not getting anything for it. So I can get why guys might choose to just dip after a while. Like that one I totally get. Hell, I'd probably even support them to a certain degree, because a lot of the approach and dating and courtship and the relationship is actually communication. And it's not just the typical yes, no, or like the talking that you'll do. It's the communication based off of your reaction to how I may choose to treat you a certain way, how I may talk to you, how I may act around you. And if I'm not getting any feedback from that, it now starts to put me in a very insecure position where it's like I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And frankly, instead of being there, why not just go for someone that's actually interested in you? You get? So I totally agree with what this guy said, as well as the guys that may choose to disappear because I'm not getting any reaction. But then again, I might be wrong, so I am going to leave it at that and move it on to our next tweet of this episode, which was posted up by a woman who said, and I quote, "Bring back sexual tension. The attraction is thick in the air but not acted upon. Desire is evident in the eyes, but the night ends with a hug and a parting of ways instead. I need to experience this again. It just might heal me." End quote. Alright, so way I look at it, I also do agree that we need to bring back sexual tension. There's actually something really good when you look at the whole idea of desire and tension between each other and people making small steps towards getting together. Not only does it seem like it can actually produce much better relationships long term, but also there's a certain thrill to it that people kind of killed when they started banging all too quickly. Because it's like, even when you look at the older series where it's like there's a sexual tension that is building up over the course of an entire season or even entire seasons, where it's like two people are interested in each other, there's a bit of tension, there's a pull and push, there's seasons where it's like they're not interested in each other, or they seem like they're not interested in each other, then they get together again, and then eventually over time they get to a point where now they just get together. And you know, it seems all magical and guys are like, finally, yes, we were looking forward to it, I was following it, I really wanted it to come through. Like, that is something that people actually enjoyed, even when it comes to entertainment. All right, so to look at it in real life and the fact that it's been stripped away, and it's like people are just trying to get to the point where they're just banging immediately. It's like you go, you meet someone, and it's like the moment there's like a little bit of tension, it's like both parties, or at least one of those parties, are doing everything possible to cut off whatever tension is there by ensuring that they act upon it. It's like, where's the delayed gratification? Where's the enjoyment that comes with that? And I can get people don't like tension, people don't like longing for something, but hey, sometimes not having to push through that shit as fast as possible can actually give you much better results. And if you look at a lot of relationships that have lasted quite a while, it's probably because they didn't rush into shit like banging immediately. Although then again, I might be wrong about that one as well, so I am going to leave it at that and move it on to our very final tweet of this episode, which was posted up by another guy who was busy talking about real good advice for some very young people, and I am going to play it as a result. So, without further ado...
You gotta smell amazing.
That's right.
you got to make sure everything about you is just on point, because women like that. The young men today are so, I just don't think men today like women. I think that, they don't want to take them out. They don't want to give them flowers. Mm-hmm. They like, yo, she could do that herself. And I had a conversation with this dude in Harlem. He said, you ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do nothing for them. You can still, I say, yo, what, who raised you? This is back to what I'm saying. And to the young men who are listening, it's not about money, but you got to have accomplishments and you got to have a few dollars. Because either you're going to pay directly or indirectly. Now, some women, you got to put it right in their hand. Kind of women those are. Mm-hmm. And some women you're going to spend indirectly, a movie, a dinner, right. And then be man enough. See, everything is not about a purpose, right? Just because you're taking a woman out, doesn't mean you have to end up in bed. Right. It's not about that. Sometimes a girl is best to be a friend.
You might end up with, yes. All my best relationships are home girls.
Man, and
women.
And you got to think about that.
That's right.
Because this woman that you turned out to be your friend, she grows to be a producer, a business person.
That's right.
Down the line.
That's right. Yep.
And because you're cool, that's your opportunity.
That is right.
And a lot of men don't think that way. Guys, start thinking that way. You ain't got to hit it.
All right. Can I say that what dude is saying was actually true? Yeah. Actually, it was mostly true. I think the only part that I'd probably disagree with slightly is the whole you have to pay for her directly or indirectly. I would want to look at it a little bit differently, because I believe that when it comes to dating, you kind of have to look at it as an investment of sorts. Regardless of whether you're male or female, like you always have to look at the idea of dating as an investment, because you're going to put some money down. You are going to find out if there is value in this person. And should you find value in this person, whether romantically or, in this guy said, in a more platonic way, then you guys can actually nurture that value and actually grow it exponentially. And that's something that I think more people should probably take to heart. Now, another thing that he did say was the whole idea of he doesn't know if men today actually like women. And I can get where he's coming from. The whole, if you like someone, you treat them well. If you like someone, you give them, a really, really nice time, and you want to make sure that they feel good and that they feel appreciated and loved. And this is sort of why I flip things from the women to the men, because I was talking about the women earlier on not being very appreciative and being reciprocative. But now in this case, it's like guys are not trying to show that they have affection for this woman and are willing to like take things slow, take this babe out on a date and shit and make her feel special. And it's like guys are just trying to get to the point where they bang this babe ASAP. If they're going to spend a bunch of money on her, they expect to bang her ASAP. And it's like people are prioritizing the idea of sex on the first date because they know that there could have been a guy that would have bagged this babe in like less than 24 hours. He'd be between her legs or some shit. And that assumption is always there. And, it's not like it comes out of nowhere. But you can't assume that every single woman can be bagged and banged by a guy in like a very short period of time with little to no effort. Are there guys that can do that? Yes. Are there women that will let certain guys do that? Yes. But you can't assume that that's every single woman. And this whole low input, max output that you see a lot of guys having today, where it's like, I want to put as little effort as possible into trying to date this babe, but I want to get like max output. So it's like you expect to get like some of the best pussy of your life, and at the same time she can cook and clean and she's supportive and she's this great all-around babe that can be your home girl, your best friend, but also like an amazing woman in your life. Like you can't expect that to happen with every single babe. And at some point you will actually have to admit that it's not like everything that is priced highly, or should I say is valued highly, is not worth the squeeze. Like when you put in low input, you have to be ready for the idea that you're gonna get low output. If you put mid, then you can also expect mid to high or mid to low. And if you put high, then you can expect either high, mid or low. Like at the end of the day, of course there are going to be unicorns where you can put in low input and get max output in terms of women. But for the vast majority, like if it's low input, you're getting low output for the most part. Maybe at best you can get mid, but for the most part it'll probably be low. So maybe putting in a little bit more investment into the kind of person that you're dating and the kind of person that you want to date might actually yield some very good outputs. Although, then again, I may not have spent as much time in the streets, so I might be wrong about this, but either way, I want your thoughts on it. The DMs are open. On X, it is at BagakaTheD. On Facebook and on IG, it is at The Break Time Podcast and at The Break Time _podcast, respectively. Thank you so much for listening all the way till the end, and I will catch you guys on the next break.
But what I believe is that if you put a pastor and a prostitute in one room, one is likely to convert the other.